Camera 3, all 3 cameras are go.
All right. Hey everybody, Nick Marzock with SSL, with Full Compass. Sorry, Full Compass, I'm still here. Talking about SSL. You know, the company that makes the legendary recording consoles like the industry-changing 4000 series and super hybrid audio to digital consoles like Duality, or the production consoles for immersive music like System T. State-of-the-art, pro-level, pro-budget stuff, right? Or you might have noticed their newer interfaces designed for home studio applications like the SSL2 or 2 Plus Mark II or SSL-12 desktop interface solutions. If only there was something like rack-mounted in the middle from SSL. So if I don't have the budget or the space for a giant production SSL console, but I have a studio or maybe even a really advanced home studio with some rack space, and I want the quality and the legacy of SSL without breaking my 10-year budget, it's right here. Let's take our first look at the brand new SSL-18, the very first rack-mounted USB interface from Solid State Logic. This is Full Review. When I think of SSL, I think of the legacy of this company. Like I mentioned, the 4K series console was SSL's introduction into the audio world from making, believe it or not, pipe organ switches. Who knew? Put a pin in that 4K console because we're gonna come back to it with this interface. Since the late 70s, SSL has relentlessly been innovating new consoles, new processors, new plugins, new technology. What has been consistent in their equipment and paramount to their legacy is the quality, right? The quality. Great quality audio doesn't just happen. It starts with the quality in all the little components throughout your signal chain, and SSL-18 came to play. This is the perfect solution for small to large professional recording studios, even professional home studios. Like I said, with rack space, if you care about routing and connectivity and customizability, here it is. The SSL-18, as you can see right here on the front, offers next generation 32-bit 192 kilohertz conversion. That is some fidelity. Up to 26 in and 28 out. It has this rugged steel chassis, so it's really durable, really good build, and it only takes up 1 rack unit. I'm just so excited that SSL has a USB interface in the rack. Racks on racks. It uses the same DC servo circuit that you're going to find in those premium large consoles, but now in a unit this big. Let's talk inputs and outputs. There are 8 high-performance SSL mic pre's, 2 in the front and 6 on the back. These are combo inputs for XLR through the preamp or line level 1/4 inch right down the middle. And these are Neutrik XLR connectors, like quality components. Inputs 1 and 2 on the front are also switchable to be high impedance instrument inputs for guitar or bass. You know what it does, I'm just showing off. Instruments. Inputs 1 and 2 also have configurable insert points on the back if you are tracking with this camera. Hi. If you're tracking with analog outboard gear. To the front. These are best-in-class SSL mic pre's with advanced two-stage circuitry. These pre's provide a massive dynamic range, 120 decibels. Plus, they're ultra low noise, like ultra low noise, just minus 130.5 decibels of self noise. You are not going to hear that at all. And really incredibly flat frequency response. So when you combine all of that with 32-bit 192 kilohertz conversion, you are capturing the audio on a microphone or an instrument exactly how it is meant to be captured. Precise, clean, no noise, no distortion. Okay, remember that console, the 4K series? Let's talk about it. Each input has a switch to turn on Legacy 4K mode. So I would select the input 1, turn it on, and now Legacy 4K mode is turned on. It adds a bit of boost in the highs and it injects some real analog saturation to give it that really musical, colorful, forward sound of the 4K series console. So this is it off. Hey, Nick Marzock with Full Compass. This is it on. Hey, Nick Marzock with Full Compass. It's pretty subtle, but it is coloring the input in that really nice, forward, musical, colorful flavor of the Legacy 4K series console. It's a classic. All right, turn it back off. Okay, so you just saw me using the input controls. These are obviously the input controls. Each channel has a gain knob, and side note about the knobs, these are Alps potentiometers. SSL puts so much effort in the details and the components that make this operate as a pro-level interface. Like the pots on the front, they didn't have to go with Alps pots, but they did. And it makes a difference. It's smooth, has a really nice resistance on these gain knobs. Under each gain knob for channels 1 through 8 is the input selector switch. Whenever I select a channel, it then lights up on the LED screen showing me that I am now controlling that input for these controls right here. So if I turn that off, I can select channel 2, channel 3, and so on. So if I wanted to control input 3, I select that one, and now I can use these control switches beside the LED panel. There's one for phantom power, turning that on and off, line level, high pass, and the one to engage that legacy 4K mode for the brilliance and the classic forwardness. Inputs 1 and 2 on the front, and then inputs 3 through 8 on the back. There's also an input for the talkback microphone on the back right here next to channel 8 that works with the talk switch on the front. This line has the built-in listen mic compressor for fans of music history. Let me put this down. When Peter Gabriel was recording his 3rd studio album, Phil Collins came in to track drums on the song Intruder at Townhouse Studios. Townhouse was one of the studios that had one of these new 4000 series consoles, new for the time. The new on the scene SSL-4000 console had a talkback microphone that had this built-in listen mic compressor. Unbeknownst to everybody, it was recording and picking up the drum checks happening from Phil Collins in the live room. So that beautiful natural verb and the sound of the drums was coming through, being picked up, compressed, thus basically creating the sound of the 80s. Well, guess what? You now have that too. Not only that, but the talkback input has a 1/4 inch. It can be used as a line level input. You can utilize that great crushing compression for stems or instruments coming in as well. Totally customizable. While we're back here, let's talk about the outputs. There are a total of 10 balanced line outputs built into the SSL-18, and it's all customizable, super versatile. Outputs 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 can be configured to be between +9 and +24 decibels to maximize your headroom, no matter what studio monitors or what equipment you were sending that signal to. The other outputs all operate at +24 decibels, which is great for outboard gear. You can also have your main monitors and switch to an alternate set of monitors. There's a switch on the front, I'll show you that in a second. All of the outputs on the back are DC coupled as well, so you can control your other rigs or synths with CV control and really integrate your modular world into your interface and your DAW. Outputs 9 and back to the back. Outputs 9 and 10 can also be configured to be your insert sends for channels 1 and 2, and then you see the insert return right next to those. All of these outputs have a dynamic range of 125 decibels. So you can really crank the knob back to the front. I need like a swivel thing. This is your output level knob that, it's a British company, so of course, goes to 11. Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
It's 1 louder, isn't it?
It is louder. It's 125 decibels louder. Below the output knob are the switches that control monitor cut. Silence. Switching to your alternative monitors if you are using them, and the switch to engage the talkback microphone through that listen mic compressor. Then finally on the front is the headphone station. 2 independent headphone outs with their own dedicated level knob, 120 decibel dynamic range on the headphone out, so you could get really quiet with it or really loud, just be careful. You also have the ability to switch impedance settings depending on which headphones you are using. Standard, high sensitivity, and high impedance. And to further put a point on the customizability, these headphone outs can be repurposed as line level outputs. Okay, I've talked about customizability so much. You can change this setting, you can change that setting, but I don't see a button for that. It's all right here behind me, SSL-360. If you have SSL products already and you are familiar with this, then disregard this part. But if not, this is your central hub for controlling the interface, routing, managing inputs and outputs, and so much more. Really quickly, let me show you. If you look at channel 3, I can change that from a line level instrument, turn on phantom power. I can control each channel individually from here, flipping the polarity, turning on and off 4K mode, changing the sends to different headphone groups or lines 3 and 4, along with the monitoring controls down on the bottom, pan, totally control that input from the computer. Over on the right side, I can change the loopback input source, sample rate from 48 that I'm in right now, all the way up to 192 kilohertz, the clock source internal, or if I'm getting it externally. There's just so much customization that happens on the software that's worthy of its own video, but it really does maximize the potential that you get with the SSL-18. You could route any input to any output pre-conversion through flexible mirror routing, control your monitor mix, create settings and templates for mixing or tracking, and save those those as profiles so that you can recall them later, make your workflow so much faster and easier. This software will also find firmware updates in your SSL-18 and tell you what drivers you might need to install to make it work. For me with a Mac, it was literally plug and play. Even before I downloaded the SSL-360, my Mac recognized it and said, all right, that's your input, that's your output. But if you have a Windows computer, go to the SSL page, download SSL-360. It will recognize your device and then tell you the drivers that you need to download to make it work and to optimize the performance. Another huge feature of this new device, this is a scalable interface, up to 26 in and 28 out. How, you might ask? We see all the inputs and outputs. Where are they coming from? Aha! On the back, you will see an ADAT in and out to give you an additional 16 channels of inputs and outputs, depending on the sample rate that you're running. And the SPDIF ins and outs for 2 additional channels in both coax and optical options. This also gives you some flexibility with your clocking. You can either run an internal clock or switch it in SSL-360 to be one of those external devices coming through ADAT or SPDIF. SSL's brand new Alpha 8 interface expander works seamlessly with this device, also 32-bit, 192 kilohertz, and you can connect up to 2 of them for 16 additional inputs and 16 additional outputs, all being monitored and controlled through SSL-360. You can also use the SSL-18 with a Pure Drive Octo to get those additional super analog mic pre's to expand this device. And finally, on the back, there is a 3.5 millimeter MIDI in and out to use this interface as a MIDI control device as well. The scalability is so great. So whether you are running a super pro home studio or you're a mid-sized studio and you just need up to 8 inputs, or you're tracking a whole band in a live room at a larger studio, or you just have a huge wall of synths and all kinds of modular rigs and you need a way to control all of that routed together and record, the SSL-18 is your answer. High quality components, high functionality, high customizability, all for a high price? No, not at all. The map price of the SSL-18 is $1,199, $1,199. It is not gonna cost you a bunch of racks for this rack.
Please don't.
Plus, you can expand your I/O with the brand new Alpha 8s for just $899 per unit. So 2 Alpha 8s working with the SSL-18, giving you 26 in, 28 out at this sample and conversion rate, all for right under $3,000. It's a no-brainer. That's a good enough pitch, but wait, there's more, of course there is. The SSL-18 also comes with the SSL Production Pack software. That is 2 permanent licenses for Vocal Strip 2 and Drum Strip that also has the Listen Mic Compressor, so you get the real one and the plugin. You also get Ableton Live 11 Lite, hybrid keys and complete start from Native Instruments, Harrison Mixbus 10, IK Multimedia Amplitude 5 SE, Melodyne Essential, BFD Player, and Pop Essentials LE, the AAS Session Bundle, 1.5 gigs of Loop Cloud samples. Are you writing this down? Plus 6 months of free access to the SSL and Slate Complete Access with 3 months of Arcade by Output, Auto-Tune Unlimited, and Sound ID reference from SonarWorks. And more, probably. I mean, my goodness. All of that software included when you buy the SSL-18. It's like a $1,400 value. Yours completely free with the purchase of an SSL-18 for just $1,199. Why are you not on fullcompass.com right now? That's where you go to get your brand new SSL interface, or better yet, give us a call, 800-356-5844. We are trained in SSL. We are so excited to help you complete this order, especially if you want to pair this with an Alpha 8 or 2 Alpha 8s or other outboard gear. We know what we're doing. Give us a call. I don't know how Solid State Logic is doing all of this at this price with these components, with the Alps pots, with the Neutra connectors, with this conversion rate, with this software, with this flexibility. I don't know, but take advantage of it. The SSL-18 USB rack-mounted audio interface, new from Solid State Logic. For Full Compass, I'm Nick Marzock. Keep it right here for more great interviews, gear reviews like this one, and so much more great content for you, the pro. Full Compass, SSL-18.